What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, indeed, it is another one. So, we're dealing with a lot of things going on over here in America, let alone that we're having immigrants flown in, and things like that. We're also having to deal with this situation that's coming up here now. We're having our dock workers throughout the United States that are going on strike because of wages and a lot of other complicated things and stuff like that. They're being mistreated. They're also being seeming in some cases being pushed out of jobs because of certain types of technology. And these are the things that we're talking about over here in America. Sometimes maybe too much technology is not the right way to go. Maybe sometimes. I mean, I'm just saying here. So, all right, let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
And developing at 10 o'clock, we are just an hour away from a potential strike that would halt operations at 14 major ports from Houston to Maine.
Dock workers are threatening to walk off the job, and tonight experts are warning if that happens, the nation's supply chain could feel the impact. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry is live at Port Houston tonight with the uncertainty that's looming this evening. Bryce.
Yeah, Keith and Daniela, port officials tonight tell me they are preparing for possible picketing. That's if this agreement isn't reached between the Longshoremen's Union and the association that represents shippers and port operators. Now, consumers likely wouldn't notice anything significant for a week or two, but local workers would be impacted immediately, and that includes the truckers who rely on this port for work. Paul Woodfork's flatbed truck is empty and ready to haul its next load, but tonight with a looming strike, he's not sure if he'll have work in the morning.
That's one of the main avenues where we can guarantee work from every month.
His small trucking business is usually hauling aluminum and solar panels from Port Houston, where thousands of dock workers are threatening to walk out over concerns about pay and automation that union leaders say would affect jobs.
It's like having a guaranteed job stop on you, and then you have to figure it all out with what you have. Is mind-boggling.
The strike, which would be a first since 1977, would shut down 14 major ports along the east and Gulf coasts.
Ooh, damn, look at all those ports that shit. Look at that. Look at that. Boston, New York, Philly, Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? Hampton Roads, Wyoming, Charleston, Sylvia. Jesus Christ. Mobile, Jacksonville, Miami, Tampa, New Orleans, of course, Houston. Man, this is wild.
And could cost the economy up to $4.5 billion a day. More than 3,300 workers are part of the union in Houston, where consumer goods like electronics, toys, games, furniture, apparel, food, and alcoholic beverages dominated 2022 imports.
Look at that. That's what's going on here. As you can clearly see, all the things that we have imported through these shippings, through these imports, in these dock ports and stuff like that. Look at all this: electronics, toys, furniture, apparel, food and beverages, things like that. I'm a chef. I work in the restaurant industry, stuff like that, that will affect the restaurant industry and what we can, the ingredients that we can get in order to feed you people out there. I know y'all love going to restaurants nowadays. Listen, look, because y'all don't cook no more. Y'all don't cook no more. Real talk. And don't give me that crap about y'all cook out there. I know better. I've been in the restaurant game, in the culinary field for over 20 plus years. Y'all don't cook anymore. So I know y'all don't. So yeah, this is going to affect y'all food. Y'all like to go out to these restaurants, get you good steaks, get you good pastas, the small restaurants, stuff like that. Listen, look, yeah, this is going to affect you guys. Here we go.
Every day that a typical port is shut down, it'll take up to 5 or 6 days to clear that. If this thing lasts a week, then you're probably looking at a month before things get back to normal.
For months, retailers have been bringing in products earlier or shifting them to the West Coast. The National Retail Federation warning even a minor disruption would have a negative impact and cause delays at a critical time for both retailers and consumers ahead of the busy holiday shopping season. What kind
Right. The holidays is coming up. Think about that, people. The holidays are coming up.
of plans have you come up with in the meantime?
Still working on them plans.
Woodfork is hoping to find work elsewhere if the strike happens without any other option to keep up with expenses.
You still have a family to feed and insurance to pay, gas bills to pay, and everything, you know, and employees to pay for as well.
And tonight, the U.S. Maritime Alliance says that counteroffers have been exchanged with the union in the last 24 hours. The alliance has also asked for an extension of the current contract. But before that update, the union posted writing that they are still looking for a fair and decent contract. So right now, there is still not an agreement, and it appears that this strike is imminent.
Okay. Here we go. So we're going to keep this thing going right here because I got a lot that I'm going to show you guys. And we're diving off into this because this is serious here. This is going to affect our market, our goods and services and things like that. Hold on. I got a couple of more things here. Let's go here now. Yeah, let's see what's happening here. And then we got more. Let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
U.S. bracing for what could be a major supply shortage as a potential dock worker strike threatens to hamper shipping across the country.
Their contract is set to expire at midnight, and right now there's no deal in sight. Fox 8's Stephanie Bertini is live at Port Newark with a closer look at the major issues this could bring. Steph.
Natasha, Steve, from the Biden administration to local officials, there's real concern about a possible strike and its impact. And it seems a strike is inevitable at this point. Here at Port Newark, preparations clearly underway for workers to picket. From barricades to signage, preparations are clearly underway at Port Newark for a possible strike. Tens of thousands of workers with the International Longshoremen's Association threatening to walk off the job at midnight, and that would mean a cargo standstill from Maine to Texas.
The magnitude of a strike like this is enormous. I mean, they're projecting that this could be upwards of $5 billion a day, billion with a B, to the U.S. economy. Because there'd be at least 36 ports along the East Coast and Gulf Coast that would be affected.
Get as much cargo out as humanly possible.
The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey has been winding down operations in anticipation of a possible strike. Governor Hochul says,
oh, just get as much cargo out as humanly possible. Jeez, okay. Instead of y'all trying to come to some serious fucking agreement out here with these people that you have on these docks doing the major work. Yeah, let's just get as much cargo out. Okay, then. Jesus Christ. All right, let's see what the governor of New York has to say about this situation. That is a major hub in our country. Let's go here now.
New Yorkers shouldn't worry, at least not yet.
Well, we're preparing for the worst, and that's what we're supposed to do in government, prepare for the worst. There's also some reassuring news. We don't anticipate shortages of essential goods anytime soon. So, for example, people do not need to rush out to the grocery store and stockpile goods like they did during the pandemic.
But a work stoppage would create a chain reaction of issues and impact the nation's supply chain. If there is a strike, the longer it goes, the greater the impact will be. And that could mean higher prices or scarcity on store shelves.
Either shippers are going to have to find other modes, making their products more expensive, or they're going to have to wait and see if they can find a way around, which is also more expensive, or they're going to have to wait altogether, and that's when we might see disruptions and shortages of goods altogether.
Right. That's the point. That's the damn point. Okay. So the governor of New York is, don't rush out and buy things. But clearly what they're saying is if this goes on any longer, we're going to have a huge problem here. You know what I'm saying? With the goods and services that are being shipped in, because they can't ship things in consistently because people are on strike. So we're going to go here now. We're going to hear from a couple of individuals here before we dive off into other things. We're going to hear from a couple of individuals here that are actually dock workers, and let's see what they had to say.
We know that we're in a fight. If they want to fight, then a war is what they're going to get. I've been a longshoreman for over 23 years, and one thing I do know to be true: gas has went up, the cost of living has constantly went up, and throughout these 23 years that I've been on the waterfront, we've only asked for $2, $3, or maybe $5 over the course of the contract. We've done our part, and we're asking, hey, you do your part, because during the pandemic,
oh, it's okay, brother. You know what I'm saying? What'd he say? $2, $3, $5 raise. Yeah. Okay, then. No, I'm sorry, sir. You can't get that because whoever owns these corporations that's running these manufacturer plantations and things like that, because that's a plantation as well. Their children need a new Ferrari out here. Oh no, sir. Oh no, sir. We're gonna run this thing like Rockefeller style or J.P. Morgan back in the 1800s and stuff like that. Oh no, sir. No, sir. You're not finna interrupt those high power ups children's college educations or the way that they run their trust and funds and things like that. We all know how it goes. We all know how it goes.
We never stop working. Imagine that a hospital is looking for a type of blood to be shipped to it, and it's on the ship that I'm working on, but it's pouring down raining, lightning. We can't stop working. We got to get that box off so that hospital can continue to drive and save the people's lives that they've been working on. So that's where we're at with it. And we just want to be.
Damn. Did you just hear what he said? What if that shipment of the blood that needs to be shipped to a hospital or a heart or a kidney or anything like that? And yes, I'm adding on to this. Real talk. What if that needs to be shipped and they can't ship it? And we know we have people on the register for the these operations and stuff like that to get heart transplants, kidney transplants, blood transfusions, things like that. Man, wow. It's so much that they ship that we don't even know out here. Seriously.
Be respected for it. And I think it's high time that we demand that. And we're long overdue. Automation is serious. Yeah. Because when you bring new automation in to take away from our jobs, you don't make means for that person to have a job. They're pushed over to the side and they can't do their job that they've been accustomed to doing. What we're asking is allow our people to continue to work in this industry without going to get an extra job to make ends meet. Allow us to take care of our families like we've been doing with the wages that we currently have in place. Continue that trend. That's all we're asking for. And if we have to sit out 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, we're prepared to do that.
So they're trying to bring in automation, which is going to be a huge problem. And all this new age crap about bringing in this technology is pushing out our workers and things like that. It's pushing out the human beings, which I would rather have humans on the ground versus technology taking over. All right, so we're going to go here now. We're going to check this one out. Let's see what's happening in Boston.
Within an hour, about 54 minutes, dock workers in Boston and 35 other ports across the U.S. may walk off the job. A strike could cause major problems for our economy. WBC's Tammy Mutasa is live at the Conley Terminal in Boston following the latest developments. Tammy?
Well, David, tonight a lot of people are anxiously waiting to find out what is going to happen if a deal isn't done. A potential strike would be really disruptive here in Boston, around our country, impacting businesses and everyday people.
You can't run a business with fear. You have to just go with the flow and keep on going.
Nearly 5 decades in the furniture business, and Neil Widgetman has learned how to keep calm when uncertainty arises. But now thousands of dock workers up and down our east and Gulf coasts are threatening to walk off the job, shutting down crucial ports where Neil's furniture supply chain comes from overseas to suppliers.
So I could weather that storm.
Now, before he gets started, the thing of this is that we could clearly see that these dock workers all across basically our eastern seaboard all the way to our southern seaboard are united on what they're talking about as far as wages and things like that, and also not wanting the automation or AI, the animated technology to kick in, which are kicking people out of jobs out here.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
Kicking people out of jobs with no replacement for these individuals that are being displaced from these jobs with any type of substantial income and things like that. So we're replacing people with technology, but we're not giving people the funds and the resources to actually keep the taxpayers' dollars going. So what are we doing? I thought America was about keeping the taxpayers paying taxes out here. I mean, that's how this country is run, off paying taxes. I mean, I thought so.
Toast is there to think about?
I thought so.
On a short level, but over a year, I would not be able to weather the storm. But most places of business would be in trouble like a month and a half later.
The contract for the International Longshoremen's Association is about to expire at midnight. The union says they want higher wages and job protection from automation.
If they keep putting machinery to take our jobs, who's going to pay the income tax? Machines are not.
According to global data company Vols.
Right. What did I just say?
The Port of Boston had over 17,000 importers last year. Advanced Auto Parts was the top business importing goods. Then 2 biotechnology companies. And then there's food, like all the delicious goods found in Jeremy Jamoulis's family-owned restaurants, which would be on the containers.
If this goes on more than a few weeks, then we're going to have to start, buying into things. The prices are going to go up.
If the strike persists, experts say the ripple effect could be felt in our pocketbooks too.
Slowdowns will be shortages. Shortages will be now every commodity is precious.
And the Dock Workers Union says the strike would not impact military goods and cruise ships. Live in Boston, Tammy Mutasa, WBC.
Yeah, I bet it won't impact military goods and things like that, because the military moves differently from what we got going on here as citizens. That's just the reality. The military always moves different, and it just is what it is here. So yeah, and this is the thing here, and the problem that we're having is that, with this situation, we have our goods and services that are not going to be able to, get shipped in and things like that. Just like when the pandemic happened, we had a true shutdown of borders and all that type of stuff, and goods and services weren't able to be shipped in, stuff like that. Restaurants were affected. Also, goods and services were affected. Stores, everything that we needed to buy or wanted to buy was affected because we weren't able to ship things in. And see, this is our problem right here in America, is that we don't manufacture a lot of goods anymore to ship out. We're always receiving goods. That's the reason why I call us the workhorses of the world.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
Because we are. We scramble on these little jobs that we do have and stuff like that. We pay taxes and this and that and woo to woo, but we're outsourcing our things for a lot of stuff that we need to, that we can make at home, but we're outsourcing goods and services, electronic products, clothing, also as well, parts, for cars and things like that. We outsource a lot of these things, and we shouldn't. We don't need to do this. You know what I'm saying? It's costing us as American citizens a lot of money, but at the same time, though, too. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always said, and I've said in plenty of other situations and videos and things like, well, broadcasters and things like that I do, that we need to be more selfish as Americans out here. We need to be more selfish. We need to be making these goods. We need to be shipping out goods and services and things like that and make these other countries pay for us to live good. How about that? How about that? Hold on.
You can't make this shit up.
But you old fish-eyed fool.
Let's go here now.
So let's talk about these dock closings and the union strikes that are incoming, because it's about to get real. This one has a couple facets to it. First of all, we're unlikely to see interference from the White House, Biden, or Harris administration because they have been backed by the union leaders up until this point. This is an interesting thing I want to come back to at the end.
Backed by the union leaders up to this point. That's the reason why the Teamsters backed out of the situation. The Teamsters, which is one of the oldest unions in this country, recently backed out with the backed out of supporting the Democratic Party, which they've supported the Democratic Party for a tremendous amount of years here. And yeah, they recently backed out of it. Here we go.
Because primarily we're here to talk about the economy and politics and not specific people. So what happens if those dock workers actually go on strike for more than a few days? First of all, this could cost the economy, according to JP Morgan, almost $5 billion per day. Not to mention, if you shut down those ports and we decided to not have an oil pipeline in the infinite wisdom of Uncle Joe, because who would want to be energy independent? That's stupid. So instead, we are going to rely on those ports to make sure that we get our energy, not to mention a lot of our food that are going to be coming into those ports, not to mention a lot of our goods. This is going to impact not only the supply lanes, but this is going to impact the cost of goods being sold. So we could potentially see inflation at, well, it's already almost at unprecedented levels. So why not? Let's throw some more on top. That's what's going to happen if these ports shut down for any length of time. And the first round of negotiations, according to just yesterday, hadn't even yet been booked. So I don't know if you know anything about these strikes, but they usually don't end in a short period of time. These dock workers are asking for over a 32% raise over the next several years. So regardless of whether or not that price increase happens now or down the road is somewhat irrelevant. Politically, I find this extremely interesting, given the fact that the union leaders are pro-Biden Harris, but if you look at the union workers, therein lies a lot of MAGA. So you're seeing a tension there. This shift started to occur back in the 90s. I still remember because my grandfather was a lifelong Democrat, primarily because he was part of the electrical union. And right around the time NAFTA happened in Clinton in the 90s, union workers started to look a little bit more askew at democratic relationships that they'd had since the 60s and 70s. So it's unlikely the White House steps in here because they don't want to upset the union workers, and definitely during an election cycle. For the American people, as usual, will be the ones footing the bill as the strike continues. So this is just going to be one more potential black swan.
Listen, look, this is the thing that happened back in the 60s and 70s, what he was talking about. Back in the 60s and 70s, the mafia was still in control of the unions. And what was happening with the unions at the end of the day, though, you know what I'm saying, they were regulated by the mafia. And, like it or not, it just is what it is. But they kept everything in line. And nowadays, we don't have that anymore. So the unions are now at a point to where, yes, you know what I'm saying, you got these people out here telling you plain and clear that at the end of the day, they're needing these provisions to keep working. But they want to beat around the bush and do this and that. And then on top of this, we also dealing with this migrant crisis and stuff like that with these illegals that are coming in. Just it's chaos out here. It's crazy.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
All this is crazy. So, you know, the dock workers en masse are definitely along the eastern seaboard down to the southern seaboard are going on strike unanimously. And they're working together. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. That's a huge hub all the way from damn near Canada to fucking Texas. Man, that's a lot. That is a lot out here that we're dealing with. I suggest they get their dynamics in order. Actually try to figure out something, because you know we don't need the shipping process to stop. And I think this is another ploy to further damage America. I think we're being damaged over here with, you know, the immigrants being shipped in by planes and all this other type of stuff, or, you know, and led across the border illegally. I think we're being damaged over here in America in a huge way by our own, by our own, which is sad. This shit is sad out here. Hey, shout out to all those true workers out there on the docks. Hopefully things come to a decent agreement to where we can keep America running properly. But Jesus Christ, man. Oh Lord, this shit is sad. But it is what it is, though, man. Hey, shout out to all my subscribers out there. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.